All right, another episode of Conversate After Dark. Tay, what's up with you?
Everything's great with me. What's going on with you?
It's okay. But anyway, tell people how they can find us.
You can find us at Conversate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD, the podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark, and check out the past episodes. I'm all thrown off. Tay and I have been battling some technical difficulties. About said something different. But we here, you know what I'm saying? We almost
We're
on
here.
vacation. Next week's vacation. So, maybe Tay and I record from a tropical location. We'll be in a better mood. I'll speak for myself. I'll be in a better mood. But Tay, let's do the icebreaker.
Okay. What's more important? Great sex or a great connection?
Connection. Connection. And oftentimes I think great sex comes with a great connection. But for me, at this age, pushing 50, it's about connection. Just because, I'm not no spring chicken. I'm not trying to have sex 6, 7, 8 times a week. But, I do want to talk to you. I do want to spend time with you. And I've been with people where the sexual connection was bomb. But after a while, I'm not just saying that we couldn't get along, but it just wasn't there, right? But there are some people who I can just kick it with them, for a long time and there's no issue. So definitely connection for me. Now I'm a Pisces, shout out, it's Pisces season. And with being a Pisces, we can be moody. So I don't really want to be around anybody for an extended period of time. I like my own company. But connection way more than sex. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. You spend a lot more of your day if you're going to be with somebody 24/7. You spend a lot more of your day just being in that person's presence versus having sex. And like you said, I agree with that. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Typically, a great connection will lead to great sex with a little baseline. You gotta have a little baseline there. But a lot of times, a good connection can take good sex to great sex, and vice versa. Um, and I was actually earlier today, I was talking about an indecent proposal. And it came up, I could only do it if the person looked good. But I actually, while that conversation was happening, I was also thinking, I need to be able to be around that person also. Like, I don't know, for me, that even if it's just a sex thing, that's always been the thing for me. I still have to like you. And that comes with the connection. That doesn't come with the sex. So
Tay's being awful kind, because we got a little side group, and I brought up the indecent proposal uh question. But help me understand though, in the indecent proposal scenario, it's strictly transactional. So I get why, well, I don't get. I understand why you say looks matter and whether you would agree to do it or not.
mhm.
Listen,
Yeah.
if the money's right, I'm there all night. But but help me understand why you would have to be able to spend time with them. Because y'all just let
Not
this go.
not necessarily spend time, but there has to be something. I don't know. I just, like I said, even with even in a situation where it's strictly sex, I need something else to draw me to that person. Like, it can't just be like, there has to be some kind of chemistry. Yeah, like, it has to be some kind of chemistry. There has to be something other than sex that makes me want to be with you.
All right, so I would assume that it would be a lot easier for a woman than a man, because for the man, you got to find, there's got to be something there that is going to get me there, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So I got to be able to find one thing to focus on, because ultimately it ain't gonna work if I ain't get if my dick ain't getting hard. So it's got to be like, oh, well, she got some big ass titties. You know what I'm saying? All right, I can focus on that. You know what I mean? Oh, she got this. I can focus on that. To me, it would seem like a woman. All y'all got to do is really just lay there. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Not really.
easy for y'all.
Not really. Certain bodily functions have to work, otherwise it hurts.
But there are ways to get around that for a woman.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
If your shit not getting hard and nothing's happening, then you ain't getting the money.
okay. But even if I can bring in lube to help the situation along, I still want to have fun. I still want to enjoy the sex. I don't, what's the point in having sex just to, I don't know, just that doesn't interest
In that
me.
scenario, $1 million. It ain't got to be fun. We
That's
getting
not,
paid.
like I said when we were having that discussion, that's not my money. That's not my limit. My price is way higher than that. 1 million is not going to get like another thing I usually say. If I'm not attracted, she ain't gonna work. If she ain't gonna work, we're not having fun, and it's not worth it to me.
Money get my dick hard. I ain't gonna lie to
That's
you.
just we two different people. Everybody ain't the same. I'm sure it's some women who the money would be. I know it's some women that the money would be enough. That's just not me. I need some kind of connection. I'm not saying it's gotta be my soulmate. I'm not saying this gotta be the only person in the world I can be vulnerable with. I'm not saying all that. There has to be something other than the sex that draws me to this person. He can be funny. That's the type of connection for me. He could be funny. He could be very, very intellectual. That's a connection for me. I mean, you know.
So let me clarify. Um, the money would have to be astronomical for me to get hard for a dude. Like it would have to be fucking astronomical. So when I say money and get me hard, I'm talking about for a woman. So because I know there's some motherfuckers got that sick ass mind and to be like, oh, well then you have sex with a man. Nah, motherfucker, nah, we
Yeah,
ain't
'cause I
getting.
was like, how did we get there?
Now, because I know how
Right?
motherfucker, because I know how that motherfucker be like, oh well, shit. Well, if you could just be paid off, then you'll do this. No, no, I won't. But
And see, that's how I feel about just doing it just for the money. There has to be something there. There has to be something that would make me want to have sex with this person. And money is not it for me.
you talked about a guy being funny or him being intellectual, and I think I've said this on the show before. But I have a friends with benefits. We messed around in college. Um, every now and again, we'll like say hi or whatever. But after college, we went on a couple of dates, and it was funny. I do enjoy spending time with her, but when we were in college, it was just all about the physical, right? So after college, we went on like there was one time we actually went on a date because before then it was just like, hey, come through. What you doing? Come through. But it was one night we went on a date and we went to go see Dodgeball. This is how long ago this was. Dodgeball was in the theaters, right? So we went to go see Dodgeball. And what was funny is after the date night, we didn't even have sex. We just spent time and we were laughing and having a good time with one another. And she said, you know what, Marv? We probably did this backwards. We probably should have did this before we went into the physical because there was really no way of going back because we were just a fuck thing. So, but the reason why I bring her up, there was a time that her and I were hanging out, and when I was talking, she was like, "Damn, you're so smart," and I could look at her face that she was getting turned on, right? But when I saw her getting turned on, I started talking about sex. And when I started talking about sex, she would get turned off. And she was like, no, don't do that. Just talk like you were talking. But I, well, goddamn, you looking at me like this, you know what I mean? And so it just didn't work.
Okay.
It didn't work. But I never understood how I didn't understand until that point how a woman could get turned on by a man and his intelligence and whatever he was talking about.
I mean, intelligence does wonders. If he's not boring, he can't be boring too. Like I love guys who
He can't
are,
be professor, right? He can't be like a professor. He gotta.
well, all professors aren't boring. It's just it's how people talk. Like there can't be a person who's monotone. Like that can be a turn off. You can't be somebody who talks slow and explains like this, but still, yeah, it can't be that. It has to be somebody who, I don't know, who's smart, who's intellectual, who can explain things, to somebody who has a 5-year old intellect, or somebody who's college educated, like that type of thing. There has to be something there. Like, I love a guy who's passionate about something and can talk to me about his passion with passion. Like, that type of stuff turns me on, even if it's just a sexual thing.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it. Now, what if I told you that it had the opposite effect on some women? I've actually been with a couple of women that it intimidated them that I was not dumb and that I had an opinion about a multitude of topics and I could talk about different things. And I'll say that that mainly was on me because clearly I was messing with the wrong women, right? Because what would happen was they would try to attack me and my intelligence. What I'm saying is they were like, oh, can everybody be college educated like you? Oh, not everybody is on your level, Marvin. And what that ends up being is a gaslight to where I started dumbing myself down or I stopped giving my opinion about topics because I knew that it triggered an insecurity in them. So they decided to make me insecure about not being ignorant to things that go on in life.
Yeah, now that you say that, I can see that happening. I've just always heard it done in the opposite. Like, if a guy feels like he's not on a woman's level, then he'll say things like that to try to bring her down. Insecure
Mhm.
guys, obviously.
Yeah.
But I've never heard it in the opposite way, but I could see how it can happen pretty much for the same reason.
I think for me, I definitely don't like a woman who is unintelligent, but there's just certain people in life who are on another level when it comes to intelligence, right?
Hmm.
And um women like that, sometimes I struggle to be in a relationship with them because oftentimes, like I said, moody Pisces, you know me. I'm either like, y'all motherfuckers getting on my nerves, or I'm extra fucking silly, right?
Hmm.
And for people who are like really highbrow, that silliness kind of gets on their nerves.
Yeah,
So, I mean, ultimately it just comes down to like, do you guys have the right connection?
pretty much.
Do you have the right connection? And then don't allow yourself to stay somewhere where you're just being tolerated.
Yeah, yeah. And this
Because
is
I
another
have,
reason. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Now, I'm
Yeah.
saying this is another reason why connection is more important than sex, because if you're not having sex with this person that you don't really have a connection with, then something that you were thinking may be a relationship just turns into a sex thing. Then what's the point?
But sometimes that chemistry can be off the fucking charts though.
True, true.
Sometimes it could be off the damn charts. You remember what was that movie? Was it called Hitchcock with Will Smith, or was it Hancock?
When he was a superhero,
Yes.
yeah, Hancock.
There's this woman. We dated in high school. And the crazy thing is, we've never went all the way. But all the things that we have done, if we were had to go all the way, the reason why we didn't go all the way is because I was scary back when I was younger. But all the things that we did do, man, the passion and the chemistry, it was just there, right? But for some reason, us being together, even the thought of it or whatever, when we spent more than just a few minutes, it just didn't work. It
Hmm.
just it would not, it would never, never ever work. But if we could only just, hey, listen, we just gonna hook up and be a friends with benefits thing, it probably would be fire. But we don't live in the same city. And then, now I kind of look at people's decision making and how they live their life. And I'm like, nah, I can't fuck with that. You got somebody like that, somebody who like you got crazy chemistry with, but like that person's not good for me.
My relationship that I always say was toxic. Like when we first met, I always say it's my favorite first meeting with somebody, like first encounter with somebody. Because when we met, we were at work, oddly enough, and we spent like 3 hours at work just talking about everything. And that initial connection was one of the reasons that kept me around. And then the sexual chemistry was there too. So like I said, when it was good, it was good. When it was bad, it was bad. But we definitely had that type of connection.
Can you share what made it bad?
Oddly enough, what drew me to him was communication. And what tore us up was communication. Because, yeah, neither one of us were good at communicating our needs and wants. And then he was the type of person, and I think this goes back to his trauma or whatever he dealt with. I'm gonna get you before you get me. So I don't
Mm,
know, for some reason he had in his head that I was gonna flip on him at some point. So that turned into it. Then the argument started, and I always say I didn't cuss until I met him. And now I can't stop cussing because of him. Because I don't know, our
You
arguments were
don't
just
really cuss though. You don't cuss. Not like me.
get into an argument with me. You'll see it. But I'm saying, when I say I didn't cuss at all. Like nothing. Like even listening to music that has curse words in it, I censored stuff in my head. Like that's how much I did not curse. Like I didn't say anything. And now I can't turn it off. And I've tried.
Mm, you know, I've had to I curse a lot. And when dealing with women, I make sure that I give the disclaimer. If we get into a argument or a heated discussion and I'm cursing, be clear, I'm not cursing at you. I'm cursing while I talk. This is how I talk. And I understand it can come off aggressive, but I'm not cursing at you like you motherfucker. I'm not doing that. I just curse while I talk, right? But in the past, I realized that I really needed to put that disclaimer out there because it does come off as aggression, right? When people are cursing. So I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah.
I had to make that change. But sometimes, and made me think about this video that's been going around social media right now. There was this dude, and I think you saw it. You may have saw it, you may have not. There was this guy. Well, it shows off, it starts off from the perspective, I'm assuming it's his wife. And she's like, this man sleeping in his car. And dude was like, he got his seat leaned all the way back, and he's in the car. So she opens up the car door and she wakes him up. She was like, really? Why you in the car? Why you in the car? And he was like, I'm trying to get some sleep. She was like, well, why don't you sleep in the house? He was like, I I can't get any peace in the house. Please just let me sleep. And she was like, is it that bad? Is your life that bad? And like clearly from the jump, you see why this dude is sleeping in his damn car, right? Because she's like nagging the shit out of him, right? And he's like, just let me sleep. And then she's like, come in the house. And she says, come in the house, baby. And he was like, no. And she says, okay, well, I'm gonna sit in the car with you. So she's going to the other side, and you can hear him say, no. And then he locks the door. And you hear her say, did you just lock the door on me? And it cuts off, right? So people have been giving their opinion. It was like, clearly, we see why this dude is sleeping in the car because you are being a nag and he can't get no peace. And people are going back. Most people were blaming her for this because they're like, clearly, you're creating an environment in the home where it's more peaceful for him to sleep in his damn car than to go into the house and get into bed. And
Mhm.
I have to assume that most relationships, because tell my business, I've been there before where I just want to, hey man, I come home from work, I'm gonna stay in the car for about 45 minutes or so, just to kind of decompress before I go in here, because I know it's gonna be some bullshit. And then there's sometimes where like I had a high stress job. There's sometimes as soon as I pulled into the driveway, I would literally zonk out and be sleeping in the driveway. So there's different situations, but I think in particular scenario, clearly the environment inside the house is toxic and he felt safer being outside.
Yeah,
Have,
yeah.
have you ever been in that type of scenario with your partner?
No, but I've only lived with one person and he travels so much with his job. It never got like that. I was always happy to come home to him. And he said he was, so I'm gonna take him at his word. He was always happy to come home to me. But I don't have a volatile relationship unless you come at me, which is what happened with that relationship with that toxic one. So I've never dealt with that. About that video, at first I wanted to ignore it because I don't like the gender wars. I think they're stupid. I think they're I don't know, they drive me crazy, and it doesn't help our community when all we do is say all men this, all women that. I think it's done because of that. But when I did look at the video, it was kind of obvious why why he needed to take a little breather before he went in the house. And I
And to
feel
be
like
clear,
if
go ahead, finish your train
I,
of thought.
I feel like if she had a little bit more emotional intelligence, she would have just been like, okay, let me give you a few minutes. First of all, she woke him up. I don't know if she should have did that. Okay, because actually, when she came outside, she said she was worried. I get that. Okay, worried. You're worried now. You know he's in the car. He's in the driveway. He's safe. Okay, let the man sleep. Just go back in the house. Was something on fire? Was there an emergency? Did you need him right then and there? No, let the man sleep. Get his little 15, 40 minutes, whatever, and then he'll come in later. But in that situation, I could see why he why he needed to.
Yeah, because here's the thing, I was just about to say that. If he sleep in the driveway and you can see him, that's a much that's a much better scenario than him being like, hey, I'm finna go to the bar, I'm finna go do whatever, and he getting some good rest at his side piece house.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? Shout
Yeah.
out to TJ. TJ said, I mean, he was at home, not elsewhere. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. If I could look out and I could see you in the driveway, now I can give her grace in this regard. I can see how it would hurt your feelings if you just like, damn, man, like I'm that terrible. You got to stay outside. You can't come in the house. Not knowing the whole dynamics of their relationship. So I can see how possibly it can hurt your feelings, right? Because you're like, damn, what's going on? Why you can't come in the house? But if they sitting out in the car and I know they safe, it ain't freezing cold outside or whatever. Like, all right, when you come inside, I'm gonna just actually like, why you sleep in the car? Like, what's going on with that? And then
Yeah.
try to have a civil conversation about it.
Yeah. But that going back and forth uh was not gonna help at all. Him locking the door probably made it worse for her too, but yeah, to her trying to argue the point really wasn't gonna help.
And the video I saw, they started playing the Boys in the Hood saxophone. You know what they're talking about when they start playing the saxophone, they start playing the saxophone and all that other shit. But yeah, um, but I want to be clear because you talked about gender wars. It goes both ways though.
Definitely does.
So I mean, in that particular scenario, I don't think it's all black women that do that. I think it's a certain type of woman
Hmm.
does that, who nags and always has to be in their husband's face, always has to, you know, what did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? Did you do that? All these type of things. Like I could see her fitting that quote unquote stereotype or archetype of a woman.
Hmm.
But I remember when I was married, there were times when my ex-wife would come home and she's an educator. So her thing was, listen, I'm talking all day long. If I'm not talking to a kid, I'm talking to another, because she was a administrator. So I'm talking to another teacher or another administrator. I'm literally talking all day long. So when I come home, I kind of want to just, you know, relax a little bit. Then I'll talk to you. To me, that I couldn't grasp that concept because I was like, well, damn, like when you come home, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to see you. Why can't you talk to me? It was hard for me to grasp that concept. Now there was other things going on, not to tell all of our business, why I felt it was some bullshit. But it can go both ways. It can definitely
Yeah.
go both ways. So people who are trying to frame it and put it into like a gender war, I think they're off base with that. Really, it's just a relationship thing.
Yeah, that's true. And then if they got kids, that adds another layer onto it. Because I've heard, matter of fact, I watched a video this week of a woman, and just with the kids, she sat in the car and had it. She went and got some fast food and sat in the car and ate it because she's like, if I take this in the house, everybody's gonna want a piece, of the food, So yeah, and yeah, I'm
I,
sure they go ahead.
I raised four kids. They got their little small. Listen, rule was if I went to McDonald's you got your little value meal, I'm taking some of everybody's fries. Hey, listen, that's how most dads be fat and shit. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they be eating their kids' food.
Oh, I used to hate that when my father used to take bites of my food because he'd take a big old bite. I used to hate
Hey,
that.
why you bullshitting? A lot of dudes gain weight because they be like, because you go out to the restaurant and your kids order food and then they don't eat all their food. Cause like, I don't know about you, but I grew up in a generation where it was like, you better finish your plate.
Hmm.
Finish what's on your plate before you could do anything. So when I became a parent, my mother hit me to the game. She was like, that's how you create fat kids, making them eat when they're done. Like, okay, I'm full. I don't want to eat no more. But you say, nah, I finished everything on the plate. So as men, some of us, as men, when you look at, okay, I didn't pay for this damn food and you wasting it. So I'm gonna finish your plate. I'm gonna finish your shit. Next thing you know, you out of dinner. You done had two fucking meals, right? So you got to learn. And me and a couple brothers like, yeah, man, that'll put that goddamn weight on you going out with your kids eating their food. TJ said people mimic what they see and it becomes their norm. I don't understand what she means by that. What she talking about?
I don't know. Could be how the woman was acting. I don't know.
Clarify, TJ, so we can know how that fits the conversation. Yeah, because sometimes like, okay, so tell me whose side you're on, right? So my brother, my brother, he and his girl at the time, they lived together for years. She is, really, really big on going on vacations. She's really big on, like, listen, I like to go see beaches. I like to go, see, sites, landmarks. She's really big on that. And he always gave her a hard time for it. That's stupid. Why are you spending all that money going these places when we got stuff that we could do at home? We got all this stuff. We work hard to build up our home. I don't see why you got to travel all this, right? You know where I'm going with this.
Hmm.
So then there was this trip that him and his homeboys wanted to take. And the cost to go was about the same amount of money that she was spending that he was giving her hell on about going on. And
Hmm.
so then he was asking me, like, should I go? Because I know she's gonna throw it in my face. And my response was, hey man, you better take your motherfucking ass on that trip. Like, you know me, I'm YOLO. Life is short. Go do what you do. But would she be right to throw it in his face for wanting to go?
Yes.
See, that's
Yes. She's
petty. That's
definitely.
petty. That's petty, Tay.
No,
That's
no, no,
petty.
no, no. Okay. So I've learned this about myself recently. You know, usually people, when they talk about the signs, they talk about their sun sign. My sun sign is Capricorn, but then there's the big three that's based on the time and the date that you were born. So my big three is Capricorn, Aquarius, Libra. That Capricorn Aquarius is why my emotional, but I don't have no
Listen,
emotions.
listen. I'm just getting ready to say the Libra in you has to be very, 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 very small. Very, very small. Very small.
No, I brought that up because Libras are usually all about fairness and balance. And since I was a little kid, I was always pointing, nope, that ain't fair. This ain't fair because you if one person get to do it, then everybody get to do it. So no, if he gonna get on her about spending such a certain amount of money, then yes, she has the right to get on him about doing the same thing.
I wish I had my dad's superpower. My dad, my mom could nag him about something or get on him about something. And she laughed about it after he passed away. He said, I would fuss at your dad. And he would be like, okay, baby, I hear you. Yeah, you right. You right, baby. And then go do right the fuck what he wanted to do anyway. And she would laugh about it. And I was like, dude, I don't have that shit because I don't like confrontation.
Hmm.
So if my woman is getting on me and we're having an argument and stuff, it fucks with me. Like my ex-wife used to do that shit. And I think she did it on purpose. Like if I had a guy's trip that I was going on, she would start arguing with me.
Oh wow.
She would start arguing with me before I go. Next thing you know, my whole mood is fucked up the whole trip. We supposed to be hanging out doing guy shit. I'm up here on the phone texting him, so we going back and forth on text. And I'm like, dude, and I look back on it, that shit ain't right. That shit ain't right. And I wish I was smart enough. I wish I had more Marvin Senior in me back then to be
Hmm.
like, you know what? I can argue when I get back home. I'm finna sit here and have some damn fun.
So you're one of those, what do they say? Uh, act and then ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah, listen, I'm on better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Because I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway. And even if I don't do it anyway, it's gonna be a problem because I'm gonna resent you for trying to control me and stop me from doing it.
So, okay, in the scenario you brought up with the trip, so is she right to go on the trip anyway? We can argue about it when she get home. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Yes, it is.
It's fair. It's fair. It's fair. It's fair. What they say sometimes it's hard, but it's fair. It's hard, but it's fair. TJ said, if that's what you're used to seeing, people argue, nag, complain, get in each other's face, you think that's normal behavior. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an excellent point because I had an ex-girlfriend. We were college boyfriend and girlfriend. And when people, I don't know, was this like this for you? When people were in college, you got your community. I went to PWI.
Mhm.
So the black community was really tight knit. And it was one of those things where people who were dating in college, when you start transitioning towards graduation, it's like, okay, where y'all gonna move to? Are y'all gonna move to the same city? Are y'all talking about marriage? It was kind of like one of those deals. So, like, if you were dating somebody towards the end of college, it's like a marriage type thing. So, this particular young lady, she was older than me by 2 years. So she graduated before me, but she hung out in the college town. She got a job, so she was still living in the city where we went to school at. But then I started approaching graduation, and it became a scenario. It was like, okay, well, what we gonna do? Are we gonna move to the same city so that we could be together, or what? And I realized that it wasn't gonna work for her and I because I saw the dynamic between her mom and her dad,
Mhm.
and both nice people, but the way that her mom talked to her dad, and I could see it in certain times she would try to talk to me that way, and kind of like a bossy, condescending way, right? That wasn't gonna work. That wasn't gonna work because it wasn't. It didn't work. It didn't work between us. Because whenever she would do that, I would respond in a very harsh way. Because I'm like, "Who the fuck you talking to?"
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not your damn child. I'm your boyfriend,
Yeah,
right? So to TJ's point, that makes a lot of sense. Because I do think that if you grow up seeing your mom talk to your dad this way, or vice versa, if you see your dad, because you see dudes like they see their mama get beat on, then they grow up to be abusers and shit, right?
right.
So yeah, to her point, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I don't think I've ever thought about it in any of my relationships. But I've only no, no, actually, all except one came from two-parent households. But yeah, I never paid attention to it in terms of my relationships, how they went.
I think it's important. I think it's
Yeah.
it's it's extremely important to look at the family dynamic.
hmm Now, I will
How
say, you know, you're all well, which I don't necessarily know if I buy that now because I've seen it not work out. But usually, women are told how a man treats his mother. That's how he treats you. That's not always. I've realized that that's not always true. But that was really the only way I looked to my ex's parents to see how they treated their mothers. You know.
I mean, I could see that applying in certain situations, but I don't necessarily think it's how he treats his mom. I think it's how his mom treated him.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, all of that's true. All of that's true.
Because I would tell you, I did I have been extremely blessed and fortunate. My parents were not perfect, but I never was unsafe. And when it comes to my mom, uh, I hit the lottery. I hit the lottery with my mother, right? So because of that, and because I saw how my dad treated his mom, how my dad treated my grandmother, how he cared for her when she was ill, how he would do different things from her, I knew how a man should love and how my dad treated my mom too, how a man
Mhm.
should protect the women in their lives. So that naturally transitioned to the woman that I was with once I became mature, right? When I was a young dumbass, of course, I, wasn't like that.
Right.
But there are there's a good number of mothers out here who are extremely toxic.
That's true. That's very true.
And not only do they mess up their daughters, they mess up their sons too.
hmm
Mess up their sons. And it's really a bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's talking about how the mothers treat their sons. So I always say, I love a man who loves his mother, but a mama's boy, I will not tolerate.
Why? I mean, but define mama's boy though.
A mama's boy is somebody whose mother pretty much did everything for them. So there were two things with that. Their mother did everything for them, so they want their wife to do that to replace that from her. That's one. And then two, when it comes to who come first, the wife or the mother, they usually lean towards the mother. When yeah, if I'm married to you, nah, that's
That
I was raised to honor my elders, so you're not gonna have to tell me, we got to take care of my mother. That's for me. That's a given. If I'm married and my husband's mother needs help, we gonna help. But just that, yeah, yeah.
so I think that there are. It's funny that discussion that we had earlier when one of our friends said there's levels to hoeing. There's levels to being a mama's boy.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
I'm a mom. I was a straight mama's boy, right? Mama's boy. Listen, she called. I'm coming. However, I also had a mother that knew not to overstep into my relationship or my brother's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knew that her place was to be mom. And I think because my mother had four boys, the idea of having a daughter, somebody that she could go shopping with and do girl stuff with, that that right there, she made sure that she didn't want to push any young woman away. Plus, she wanted her sons to be happy. So
Mm-hmm.
like, it's just stupid ass social media scenarios. Like, okay, if you, your girl, and your mom are in the car, who sits in the front seat?
Yeah.
I would never have to deal with that scenario with my mom. 'Cause my mom's just gonna go ahead and get in the back seat.
And see, the way I was raised, I would tell her to get in the front because I was always taught you honor your elder. And that's how I've always answered that question. I always say, get in the front to my mother, to any person who's older than me, get in the front. Now, if they say no, because like my stepmother, she prefers to ride in the back, but I
Mhm.
always give her first right of refusal.
Right
You
there.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
But and then the other thing with my dad though, and I think it's because like one of my uncles and his wife and my grandmother didn't have the best of relationship for a multitude of reasons. My dad really set the tone. He was like, listen, if you two don't get along, I'm not gonna fuck with either one of you ever again.
hmm
So whatever y'all got to do to figure it out. And after my dad passed, my grandmother stayed with my mom for several years. They,
yeah,
they had a really good relationship. So, that's the type of example that was set for me. So that's what I tried to do in my relationship. TJ said his mama comes first, and that's not cool at all. Until she's talking about, a mother's boy, a mama's boy.
yeah,
Yeah, dog, you can't be no punk ass. And my mama said, and my mama did all this. Now, there are times where there are things that your mom did that you would hope that your wife would be able to emulate. Like, my mom used to cook this, my mom used to cook that. But that's a real easy way to mess up your relationship by comparing your woman to somebody else. Because I'm
yeah.
gonna tell you, the minute the woman I with says, well, my daddy could do this, or I'm just gonna call my daddy, we can go be with your motherfucking daddy. So I understand. I
Yeah.
understand because the minute a woman says some shit like that to me, you go be with his ass then. Because I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, I get it. It's like I said, between my father and my grandfather's, there's some big shoes to fill. So I would never ask a man to measure up a little bit, but you don't have to be exactly like them.
I'm glad you said that because that's not really fair though.
Right.
Especially for men, because my boy Dennis said it all the time. We ain't built like our dads and our grandfathers were. Like we could still be good men, but they were some hardcore, changing carburetors and transmissions and shit in the driveway.
Yeah.
We most of us ain't built like that. So if that's your standard, that I got to be able to change the transmission, then now you need to go ahead and get you somebody your daddy's age. That
No,
ain't
with my mother and all of my grandparents had all girls together. I have an uncle. My grandfather had a son before my grandmother, but together they had all girls. Even when they left home, Daddy, this needs to be fixed in my house. My car not working, and my grandfather would come running.
I mean, I guess it's with everything depends on the delivery,
Yeah.
right? If it's more like, look, my dad can do it, why not call him to make it easier on us? But
hmm
if you're saying that or if you're implying that I'm less than because I can't do what he can do, then it becomes problematic.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, then it becomes problematic. You got a would you or wouldn't you before we go?
I don't.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
I, I got one. Would you be able to be with somebody who says that sex is not important to them?
No,
Why not?
because it's important to me. So I don't want to feel like I'm making somebody have sex with me. I want the person that I'm with to desire me as much as I desire them. I don't, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. So is it absolutely necessary that your sex drive and his sex drive is on the same level?
I would like it to be, but at this age, I would say no, only because I do know that this cruel trick that that our human bodies have played on us. Usually, at my age, the women, our sex drive is here, and usually the men are, less than that. So, no, the drive doesn't have to be the same, but the wanting to needs to be there.
TJ said, nope, deal breaker.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of them men that's getting to that age. You can't be, is it asexual
Yeah.
when you don't really care about sex?
Yeah.
Okay. You can't be asexual. I'm a once or twice, I want a 2 time a week commitment person. Is all I need. 3 if we on vacation, you know what I mean? But I need a 2 to 3 times a week commitment. And not really because I really just have to be busting it down every night of the week, but I do firmly believe that having sex helps you keep a connection. Because when you see those long-term relationships, when they really start to go bad,
Hmm.
it's the question that I ask is, when last time y'all had sex? And oftentimes it'd been like a year,
Hmm.
8. You'd be surprised. Some of these marriages, there's some sexless marriages where
Yeah.
it's been a year, 2 years, sometimes even I remember talking to this one lady, she said, man, I look at him kind of like a brother now. Like
Ooh.
even if he had came to me and said, hey, listen, let's do something, I would laugh because like, boy, we ain't done nothing in years. But
Oh, wow.
they married, they got kids, grandkids, all that old shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, TJ said menopause increased my sex drive. And she said, no, bro, I'm never going to be content snuggling.
Yeah. And physical touch ain't my thing. I don't like to cuddle. So yeah. That can't be my life.
Damn. Okay. Okay. I get it. I get it. I get it. Well, thankfully, God ain't touched me yet. I can still, what I'm saying. Don't get it fucked up, y'all. Those of y'all watching. I think a brother be tired. I work a lot. But anyway, Tay, tell me how they can find us.
You can find us at Conversate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD, the podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe, and leave us a comment.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. Check out the past episodes. Tell a friend. We'll have you next time. Peace.
Bye.